Have you ever felt like no matter how much effort you put in, success always seems just out of reach? Like you're constantly moving, constantly doing, but never quite getting the results you hoped for? Maybe you've been told that the answer is to work harder, to do more, to push yourself further. But what no one tells you is that the real key to achieving more, without burning out, lies not in doing everything, but in doing what truly matters. Today, you're about to unlock a truth that can completely reshape the way you approach your time, your goals, and your entire life. In this audiobook, we dive deep into the 80-20 principle, also known as the Pareto principle. This concept has changed the lives of some of the most successful people in the world, from top entrepreneurs to thought leaders and high performers across every field. They all use this powerful rule to achieve more with less. Now, imagine this. What if you could cut your effort in half, yet still keep the most important results? What if you could stop wasting energy on tasks that drain you, and instead, focus on the few things that truly make a difference? What would your life look like if you concentrated only on the 20% that creates 80% of your success, your happiness, and your fulfillment? This principle is not just an idea, it's a way of living. And in the next few chapters, you'll learn how to apply it to every area of your life. Whether it's balancing your career and personal life, choosing relationships that uplift and support you, or going after your biggest dreams, you'll see how doing less of what doesn't matter gives you the space and clarity to do more of what does. Because in the end, it's not about how many hours you work. It's about how wisely you choose to spend your time, your energy, and your focus. That is what creates real progress. So I invite you to stay with me. Walk with me through this journey of clarity and intention. When you begin to recognize the few things that actually move the needle, you stop living on autopilot and start living with purpose. One decision, one insight, one shift in perspective. That's all it takes to change everything. And right now, with this powerful idea in front of you, that moment of transformation is closer than ever. Every company aspires to one essential goal: maximize its profits and ensure its sustainability. But in practice, many organizations find themselves trapped in a cycle of putting out fires, constantly facing problems that, in hindsight, seem inevitable. However, here's the big question. What if these obstacles could be anticipated? What if there were a simple yet transformative method to identify the gaps in your business before they become crises? This is where the 80-20 principle reveals itself as a powerful tool, your compass for navigating the business landscape with clarity and purpose. This principle isn't some abstract mathematical formula. It's a real, practical strategy that allows you to achieve great results using fewer resources. The world's most successful companies have applied it to redirect their efforts, and you can too. What do you need? An honest analysis and a firm commitment. Yes, it requires time and focus, but the rewards are extraordinary. A more profitable, efficient business model aligned with what truly matters. Start by focusing your attention on 3 fundamental pillars: your products, your customers, and your market position. Imagine for a moment that you conduct a thorough analysis of your products. How many do you launch each year? More importantly, where does the majority of your revenue come from? You'll likely notice a surprising and consistent pattern. A few products, maybe around 20%, generate the majority of your profits. This, far from being an alarming imbalance, is a unique opportunity. It's time to ask critical questions. What makes those products special? Why are they in the highest demand? And most importantly, how can you replicate that success? The same exercise applies to your customers. Ask yourself, who are your most loyal, frequent, and influential buyers? You'll discover another undeniable pattern. A small group, that same 20%, is responsible for most of your income and likely for your business's stability. But don't stop there. It's essential to understand the why behind that loyalty. Is it the quality of your service, an emotional connection you've cultivated, or have you uniquely solved an urgent need? When you deeply understand your most valuable group, you can turn that trust into the foundation of your growth strategy. However, don't ignore the other side of the equation. The remaining 80% of your customers, though less profitable, still have much to teach you. What limits their participation? Is it a pricing issue, a lack of perceived value, or simply a disconnect with their needs? This analysis will not only help refine your offer, but also empower you to make bold decisions about where to invest your energy and where not to. In business, just like in life, knowing where not to put your efforts is as crucial as knowing where to focus them. Finally, reflect on your position in the market. Where do you stand compared to your competitors? And perhaps more importantly, why? Maybe another business is more successful due to its constant innovation, superior customer service, or ability to anticipate trends. Learning from your competitors isn't a sign of weakness. It's an opportunity to explore new ideas, to redesign your proposal, and stand out in areas they have yet to conquer. It's in that blend of humility and strategy that you'll find your greatest strength. The 80-20 principle isn't about working harder. It's about working with intention. It's about maximizing the impact of each decision and each action. When you direct your attention to that 20% that moves the needle on your success, you not only improve your business, but you also free up space for creativity and innovation. Richard Koch sums it up perfectly. The things that matter most should never depend on the things that matter least. This is your reminder to prioritize and move forward with clarity. Today, you have an opportunity in front of you. You can continue reacting to problems as they come, or you can decide to take control, identify the levers that generate your biggest results, and build your business on solid foundations. If you choose this path, the 80-20 principle can become your turning point, your guide to transforming not just your numbers, but the very direction of your company. Remember, change doesn't come by chance. It comes to those who are willing to look closely, reflect, and commit. If you choose to apply this principle today, you'll discover that every step counts, and every strategic decision creates lasting impact. This is your moment. Are you ready to take the first step toward a more profitable, agile, and above all, more aligned business with what truly matters? There's a powerful reason behind every decision made by your customers. They chose to buy from you, not your competition. Take a moment to think about how meaningful this act is. We live in a world filled with options, where advertising campaigns are constantly trying to grab our attention. And yet, they chose to cross that line and trust what you offer. If you can unravel the reasons behind that choice, you'll uncover an invaluable key: the value they truly find in your business. This knowledge not only transforms your strategy, but it also transforms how you view and build relationships. Because understanding the why behind their trust is the first step to becoming an essential part of their lives. Now, the foundation of this reflection is clear: identifying and understanding those key customers, that top 20% who drive the majority of your revenue. They are not just numbers in a monthly report. They are the core that sustains and defines your business. Discovering what makes them unique and keeping them close isn't just a strategy, it's a fundamental priority. When you manage to become an irreplaceable partner in their lives, the growth of your business stops being merely incremental. It becomes exponential. However, don't be mistaken in thinking that the goal is just to expand your customer base. While growth is always important, true strength lies in those who already trust you. That select group doesn't just represent revenue, it represents loyalty, opportunities for genuine feedback, and often the most effective funnel for new customers through recommendations. Satisfying these customers isn't an optional task. It's an investment that will always be worth it. This knowledge should influence every aspect of your strategy, from how we design marketing campaigns to how we structure our operational decisions. When you focus your resources on that key segment, you'll see something amazing. The return on investment multiplies. Not because you're doing more, but because you're doing better. Imagine a garden for a moment. You could water the entire land and hope for results, or you could nurture the flowers that have already started blooming. The latter is not only more efficient, it's more impactful. But the key to it all lies in an undeniable principle: sales and marketing are inseparable. You can have a brilliant, innovative marketing strategy and still fail if your sales team isn't aligned to take full advantage of it. Likewise, even the best sales team won't be able to fulfill its purpose if there's no clear strategic plan behind it, designed to enhance every interaction, every business close. This is where the 80-20 principle shines again. You'll discover that probably only a fraction of your sales team, perhaps 20%, is generating the majority of the results. This group isn't standing out by chance. It could be their ability to emotionally connect with customers, their skill in handling objections, or their capacity to offer solutions that go above and beyond expectations. This is the moment to turn their excellence into a guide for the others, create training programs, develop spaces for mutual learning, and find ways to replicate those strengths. But also, be bold. If, after investing in development, some people fail to progress, it might be time to make tough decisions. Because, while uncomfortable, business success requires decisions based on impact, not just effort. That said, never lose sight of the importance of taking care of your key players. Performance doesn't emerge in a vacuum. It's born in an environment that fosters growth, acknowledges effort, and provides the right tools. When your top talent feels valued, their energy and motivation expand like a wave that spreads to the rest. An inspired team is not only efficient, it becomes the backbone of your success. So here's the challenge. Use the 80-20 principle to focus your efforts, not only on your customers, but also on your team. Identify what truly matters, prioritize what makes an impact, and make decisions boldly. Because it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving. This approach will transform not just your revenue, but the way you lead and your vision of what a solid business looks like. Today is the day to redefine your priorities and rewrite the rules of your success. Don't be afraid to focus on quality over quantity, on depth over breadth, because the secret isn't about doing more, it's about doing better. Are you ready to take that step? Because with every strategic decision, every loyal customer, and every valuable team member, you're building the future you've always dreamed of. The 80-20 principle is more than just a rule for time management or boosting productivity. It is a powerful lens through which you can reframe your entire life, your decisions, your habits, your happiness. But before you can unlock its true potential, you need to embrace one important truth. Life is not balanced, and it was never meant to be. Imbalance is not a flaw in the system. It is the system. All around you, from nature to business to human relationships, everything flows through unequal patterns. And it is precisely within that imbalance that extraordinary opportunities are hidden. The chance to do less, and yet achieve so much more. At the core of 80-20 thinking lies one simple but transformative idea. Not everything matters equally. The majority of your results, progress, joy, and fulfillment often come from a small percentage of your actions, your relationships, and your time. This is not a rigid formula. It is a deeply personal tool, one that adapts to your life, your rhythm, your truth. But here is the catch. No one can apply it for you. No productivity guru, no best-selling method, no viral strategy will do the work. This is a journey you have to take for yourself. It starts with awareness, it grows through clarity, and it blossoms through conscious, intentional living. You know your life better than anyone. While advice from experts may offer direction, the real breakthrough comes when you dare to ask yourself the difficult questions. What truly matters to me? Where does my energy go? What gives me the highest return in joy, purpose, and results? The 80-20 principle invites you into this kind of introspection, and that alone makes it more than a strategy. It becomes a process of deep self-discovery. When you begin applying this principle, especially to how you manage your time, you start seeing each day differently. You realize that not all hours are created equal. Some moments are golden. In those brief windows, you are more focused, more inspired, more productive. And that is where the shift begins. You stop trying to maximize every second and instead start protecting the moments that truly move your life forward. If you are unsure when those golden hours happen for you, take some time to reflect. Think back to a few days when everything seemed to click, when you felt unstoppable. What time of day was it? What were you doing? What was different about your environment, your mindset, your energy? These details are not random. They are clues. Write them down. Observe the patterns. What you uncover may surprise you. And with that knowledge, you can begin to redesign your days in a way that supports your natural strengths, not fights against them. But the reach of the 80-20 principle goes far beyond productivity. Richard Koch, who popularized this idea, encourages us to take it deeper, into our emotional lives, into our happiness. And that is where it becomes even more powerful. Picture this: 2 blank sheets of paper. On one, write down every moment or activity that has brought you genuine joy. On the other, list the accomplishments or milestones that made you feel proud. These two lists may seem different at first, but look closer. You will start to see connections. Often, it is the smallest things: a quiet coffee in the morning, a sincere conversation, a walk through nature, that create the biggest impact on how you feel and who you become. What if you began designing your life around those high return moments? What if your calendar, your decisions, your goals were all built around the 20% that creates the most joy, the deepest meaning, the truest sense of success? That is what 80-20 living is all about. And it is not a one-time shift. It is an ongoing choice, a commitment to stop chasing every opportunity and start investing in the ones that matter most. Of course, on this path, you might run into guilt. It's easy to think you're not doing enough, not being enough, not keeping up. But guilt is just noise. The truth is, the more you simplify, the more space you create for what really matters. Let go of the pressure to do everything. Focus instead on doing the right things in the right way, at the right time. The 80-20 principle is not magic. It is clarity in motion, a tool that, when applied with honesty and courage, can transform your schedule, your mindset, and your soul. It teaches you that your life is not a to-do list to conquer, but a canvas to paint with intention, meaning, and purpose. Small, focused decisions, made consistently, lead to massive transformation over time. So, here is the invitation. Begin where you are. You do not have to be perfect. You just have to be honest with yourself. What brings you the most meaning? What truly drives results? What would your life look like if you started focusing only on that? Let this principle be your compass. Let it guide you to a version of life that feels lighter, fuller, and more aligned with who you really are. Because success is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters. Relationships are, without a doubt, the heart of the human experience. We are designed to connect, to share our lives, emotions, and stories with others. Pretending otherwise is not an act of strength, but of isolation that, far from strengthening our spirit, weakens us. From the moment we arrive in this world, we depend on others. First our parents, then siblings, friends, and eventually those relationships we consciously choose to cultivate throughout our lives. We are more than individuals. We are a network of connections. And it is precisely in these relationships where much of what we are and what we can become is shaped. Think about this. The relationships we choose, and also those we inherit, have the power to deeply influence our personal development and the course our life takes. That old saying, which you've surely heard again and again, remains true. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now reflect. If those 5 people are ambitious, inspiring, and creative, their energy will inevitably permeate the way you see the world. Their habits, thoughts, and ways of acting will filter into your own perspective. On the other hand, if those people tend to be negative, complacent, or mediocre, you will face the constant risk of their energy pulling you in the same direction unless you are intentional in redirecting the course of your connections. Here lies one of your most underestimated powers: the ability to choose your relationships. Although we don't choose our family, we have full control over who we spend our time with, to whom we entrust our dreams, and perhaps most importantly, who we allow to influence our lives. This extends to all areas. From the partner we choose to love, to our closest friends, to our colleagues, partners, and mentors. Every decision matters because every relationship acts as a seed that can either blossom or consume emotional and mental resources without adding value. The 80-20 principle also applies to our relationships. You may meet many people throughout your life, but only a small percentage, perhaps the 20%, will have a significant and lasting impact on your happiness, personal growth, and goals. These few people will offer you 80% of the emotional, intellectual, and spiritual value you derive from your relationships. Therefore, quality will always outweigh quantity. It's not about how large your network is, but how authentic and enriching the connections you choose to maintain are. Take a moment to evaluate your current relationships. Perhaps you can identify 1 or 2 friends who have been by your side since childhood, those who have withstood the test of time and remain part of your life. Maybe you have a handful of friends in adulthood with whom you can share your joys, concerns, and desires. And maybe you've even found great love. This pattern is no coincidence, nor is it a limitation. It's a natural representation of how we are designed to function. cultivating few but deep connections that nourish our spirit and propel us forward. In the professional realm, Richard Koch suggests building and maintaining between 6 and 7 key relationships that can make a difference in your work and personal life. Imagine the impact of having 2 or 3 mentors you deeply admire, capable of providing wise guidance based on their experience. Another 2 or 3 reliable colleagues, companions with whom you can grow and face challenges, and perhaps 1 or 2 apprentices, people you can guide and help reach their full potential. These strategic relationships not only enrich your journey, but create an impact that transcends, leaving a lasting legacy. Beyond the type of relationship, there are 5 fundamental pillars that define its success: mutual enjoyment, deep respect, shared experience, reciprocity, and of course, trust. Without these elements, any connection runs the risk of being fleeting or shallow. But when they are present, the possibilities for building a meaningful and lasting relationship are endless. Life is too short and our emotional space too valuable to fill it with superficial or harmful relationships. Before opening your life to someone, make sure you know them well. Don't rush. Take the time to observe who they are and what they bring into your life. Look for people who elevate your vision, who inspire you to be better, and who walk with you in your most vulnerable moments. Remember, your relationships not only reflect who you are at this moment, but they are constantly shaping the person you are becoming. Choosing wisely is not an act of selfishness, but of self-love. By prioritizing quality over quantity, you'll find that authentic and deep relationships not only enrich your life, but transform it into a more powerful and meaningful experience. Many people live trapped in a routine they don't desire, burdened by limiting beliefs that seem to paralyze them in a reality far from their dreams. They hate their job, feel that their relationships don't meet their expectations, and their bank account never seems to offer the stability or freedom they long for. This feeling of being stuck is not an exception. It is one of the most common realities many people face daily. But what most don't know is that this feeling doesn't have to be constant. Here is the fundamental truth. You can have the life you desire. The key to transforming your life lies in being completely clear about what you really want. It's not enough to have a vague idea, you need a clear vision. What does your dream life look like? What role do work, health, relationships, travel, and fun play in it? Where do you live? What do you do every day? Who do you share your time and energy with? Be honest with yourself and make a detailed list. Take your time to dive into each area, from the everyday to the grandest aspirations. The clearer your vision, the easier it will be to find the path toward it. By being specific, we create an internal roadmap that guides us even when external circumstances seem challenging. Once your vision is clear, observe those who have already managed to live that life. How did they do it? What decisions, sacrifices, or key moments made a difference for them? Here lies the true value of learning. It's not enough to admire the success of others, you must study the process. Ask yourself, what am I willing to do that they did to achieve it? Because success doesn't exist without strategy. The difference isn't in innate talent or luck, but in vision clarity and the defined steps they took toward their goals. One crucial aspect of this process is professional career. For many, work is a central aspect of life, but there is a huge difference between having a job that fulfills us and feeling trapped in a job that drains our energy and motivation. When you don't feel that your job resonates with you, it becomes a burden. And here lies a common mistake. Many people think they need to immediately quit their job to pursue their dreams. But that's not always necessary. For example, if you've always dreamed of being a writer but find yourself trapped in an accounting position, you don't need to make drastic decisions, but rather create a parallel path consistently. Write every day, share your ideas, produce content, work with dedication. Over time, your passion may take you so far that your income as a writer could replace your accounting job. What matters is staying focused and consistent while ensuring you have enough stability in the present as you build your future. The most important thing is not to get trapped by the belief that you are doomed to a job you hate. Life should not feel like a sentence. It has to be a journey toward your self-fulfillment. Remember, a job is only one part of the equation, and while you may have a good job in financial or status terms, if it strips away your time and personal energy, you're losing the true treasure, your overall well-being. Furthermore, True success is not confined to just one part of your life, such as your job. True success is a balanced experience, fulfilling in all aspects. You cannot enjoy professional success without your personal and emotional life being equally balanced. True and lasting success is not only about getting a promotion or a raise, but also enjoying harmony with your family, friends, your health, and yourself. If something in any area of your life is wrong, that's the moment to act. It doesn't matter if you're achieving great things in your career, if your health is deteriorating, or your most important relationship is falling apart. Balance is essential for genuine happiness. Do the self-evaluation exercise. In which areas do you feel fulfilled? Where do you need to grow? And what is the path that will lead you to that ideal place? Remembering this will allow you to build a successful life, not just professionally, but in every aspect you deem valuable. A balanced life is not just a dream, it's an achievable reality that, when lived, turns freedom and peace into our most constant allies. Remember, it's not enough to listen to success stories, nor to admire others. If they have achieved that dream life, so can you. If you establish a clear vision, followed by an action plan, and genuinely commit to that path, the results will come. As Richard Koch wisely says, those who know how to seize the day become very wealthy. It's true because true wealth is not just about material riches. Seize every moment. Seize every opportunity that comes your way. When you work with this focus in your mind, you'll see how the future you dreamed of is not only possible, but inevitable. You already have what you need: clarity, passion, and the necessary time to achieve it. It's just a matter of acting in line with your dreams and making them a reality. The 80-20 principle is not just a productivity hack or a clever management trick. It is one of the most transformative concepts you can apply to your life, your work, and your mindset. At its core, it reveals a hidden truth that most people overlook. Not all effort is equal. A small percentage of your actions, decisions, and relationships generate the majority of your outcomes, whether in success, joy, progress, or impact. This principle invites you to shift your focus, not by ignoring the rest of your life, but by learning to identify and prioritize what truly moves the needle. The 20% that creates 80% of your results holds the key to unlocking a new level of clarity and purpose. It's about becoming more intentional with your time, more strategic with your energy, and more selective with your commitments. That doesn't mean neglecting everything else. It means recognizing what matters most and letting it lead. There's an often overlooked insight here. The 80% that you choose to set aside might be the very 20% someone else is using to change their life. Perspective is everything. What you ignore by default, others may pursue by design. That awareness alone can spark a powerful shift. It teaches you not only to look inward, but also to remain alert to the hidden value in areas you may have dismissed. Nowhere is this principle more relevant than in the world of business and leadership. Imagine running a company and believing every employee contributes equally. It's noble, but not realistic. In reality, a few key individuals often drive the majority of meaningful outcomes. When you recognize this, you begin to focus your attention and resources where they count most. Whether that's doubling down on top performers, nurturing visionary thinkers, or streamlining processes that yield exponential impact. And yes, sometimes this clarity forces difficult decisions, like letting go of team members who no longer align with the mission. While it may feel uncomfortable or even harsh, the truth is that it can be a liberating act for both parties. When someone is no longer growing within your system, they may flourish somewhere else. Often, the most life-changing moments come not from stability, but from disruption. Growth is born in the discomfort of change, and it's often those difficult, honest decisions that plant the seeds of long-term success. But the power of the 80-20 principle goes far beyond business. It reaches into your personal life, especially when it comes to how you manage your most valuable resource, time. Think back to your most productive days. What made them different? What did you do or avoid doing that helped you accomplish more with less stress? Maybe it was waking up earlier, eliminating distractions, or choosing to focus on one important task rather than trying to do it all. These subtle shifts often go unnoticed, yet they hold the secret to sustainable productivity. When you identify these high-impact habits and repeat them deliberately, you create a personal formula for peak performance. Over time, those patterns build momentum. Your energy becomes more focused, your days feel less scattered, and your sense of progress grows deeper and more meaningful. By applying the 80-20 principle with clarity and consistency, you start to experience a new flow in your life, not just in your results, but in your sense of alignment. The gap between what you do and what truly matters begins to close. You become more aware of what deserves your attention, and more willing to let go of what doesn't. Life starts to feel lighter, more purposeful, more yours. This is not about perfection, it's about direction. The 80-20 mindset teaches you to let go of the illusion that everything is urgent or equally important. It replaces the idea of doing it all with the freedom of doing what counts. And in doing so, it transforms the way you see time, effort, and even success itself. You see, it's not just about optimizing productivity. It's about designing a life that reflects your values, honors your purpose, and supports your growth. Whether you're managing a business, nurturing relationships, or simply trying to make the most of your days. The 80-20 principle helps you focus on the essential few rather than the distracting many. And that's where transformation begins. Not in doing more, but in doing better. Not in adding more to your plate, but in choosing what truly deserves to be there. When you align your energy with what truly matters, you stop spinning your wheels and start building momentum toward the life you've always imagined. So here's the question you must ask yourself. Where does your real impact come from? What actions, people, or habits produce the greatest results in your life? When you identify those and center your days around them, you don't just increase your productivity, you reclaim your time, your power, and your path. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be intentional. Let this principle guide you, and you'll be amazed at how everything begins to align. And now, we arrive at the end of this powerful and eye-opening journey. But in truth, this is not the end. It's the beginning of something far greater, because real transformation doesn't happen all at once. It begins with a single step, a single insight, a single choice. And by listening, by reflecting, and by staying until the final word, you've already taken that first step. What happens next is entirely in your hands. Every small shift you choose to make, in your time, your focus, your habits, is a building block for the future you're creating. And it's not just about becoming more productive or efficient, it's about reclaiming your power. It's about living with intention and making sure your days are aligned with your values, your goals, and the life you truly want to live. I truly believe that meaningful change begins with awareness and is sustained through action. If this audiobook has moved something in you, if you felt inspired, understood, or even challenged, then don't let that momentum fade. Do something with it. Take the insights you've gained and apply them, even in the smallest of ways, because those small steps, they compound, they grow, and they lead to results far beyond what you can see today. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to share it, like this audiobook, subscribe for more, and send it to someone who's also ready for change, someone who deserves to discover the life-changing clarity of the 80-20 principle. Together, we can create a ripple effect that reaches further than we imagine. Thank you, truly, for walking this path with me, for choosing growth, for staying present through every chapter. Your time and your trust mean more than words can say. And always remember this, your success doesn't depend on doing everything. It depends on doing the right things consistently with courage and intention. The future you dream of is not out of reach. With each conscious decision, each focused action, you are already getting closer. This is your journey. Own it, live it, and let the 80-20 principle guide you to the extraordinary life you were meant to lead.